down so I could share it.
Hey guys, this is Pat Jenkins of On the Hill Media and voice of Fayetteville High Bulldogs Athletics. Make sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel that's On the Hill Media. Make sure you hit the bell for all notifications. As we say, let's get it. And welcome in live. It's our Thursday edition here live from 7420 West Sunset Avenue. We're at CMAC Southern Kitchen here in Town, and it's a great Thursday. People in here enjoying what we always talk about, this great Southern taste, and we always say it's just that good. That's CMAC Southern Kitchen. Our show is brought to you here Talking Season, brought to you by CMAC Southern Kitchen, Lindsay and Associates, and also to First Choice Protection Systems. I want to thank those our proud sponsors for making what we do each and every day, each and every week possible. We want to thank those fine folks. A lot to get into. Arkansas takes on the number 4 team in the country at Donald W. Reynolds. Just a little bit over 48 hours. The number 4 team comes in, 6:30 kickoff. To all our viewers, those that watch the show, what are your keys? What will you be looking for? And let's be honest. Do you think Arkansas has a legitimate chance to win the ball game? If so, what do they have to do to pull that, what I would consider an upset, a big upset? I mean, this is a very, very high-powered Josh Heupel-led Tennessee Volunteer team in here. They're number 4 for a reason, Demetrius. I mean, they are the 4th best team. Big-time stat, they've never trailed at any point this season. I mean, that's huge. The depth that they have, I believe, on both the offensive and defensive lines, the speed and skill that they're going to have at quarterback and at wide receiver. They can run the football. I mean, they got the top third down defense in the conference, top defense overall in the conference, one of the elite defenses in all of the college football. Woo! I mean, I made it seem like they don't have a chance by just laying all that out. But I say all that to say, if this team can take care of the football, as we've witnessed their 2 losses result in 6 turnovers, they have a chance. Arkansas, to me, is going to have to run the football and take care of the football and really get off the field on 3rd down. You know, I'm big on that 3rd down. It's huge. It's going to be huge in Saturday night's ball game. And, you know, I think the way I got on people, I want to give a shot. I'm going to challenge the Arkansas fan base. Show up. These are games that you can have a difference in. These are games that, as a fan, you want to come to when the number 4 team comes into your place, and you could have an impact on that ball game. I mean, you could have a huge impact on that ball game. Fat House is packed. You know, this freshman, Nico's a great one, but has he really been in a tough environment? I mean, you know, Oklahoma, you could say, but is that really the SEC environment? I don't think so. I think the team is a lot hyped because of the comp, but I don't think that's an SEC environment, something that would rattle the young man. And even that game, he showed flashes of how a crowd could affect some of the things that he does.
Yeah, I think the key to this is the offense coming out starting fast. I think if I'm Sam Pittman, I'm trying my offense out there series one. If they ask me receive a kick, I'm receiving, and I need my offense to go out there and make a statement. They have to run out there and punch that ball in the end zone. And then it's going to take the defense to come out there and get a stop. I think if that can happen in those first two series, that offense go out there, score right away, and then that defense come in and show that they can stop this offense. And the crowd be a factor because we heard Greg McElroy talk about it multiple times, how this is one of the most festive environments that he's ever played in as a SEC quarterback. So, again, I think all things being equal, Arkansas does have an opportunity to go in this game and play a formidable opponent in Tennessee and have a chance to win. I think it's just on those guys to be in the moment and accept the task at hand and eliminate mistakes.
So that's been, like I said, I mean, as you and I've watched, I mean, that has been the Achilles heel for this football team. Mistakes in the pass pro, some breakdowns in coverage, but more so a lot of the turnovers. It's just when this team has played through 4 games and you have of the amount, I believe, 9 or 10 turnovers, and your quarterback has accounted for roughly 7 or 8 of those, that's where you run into a lot of the problem. I mean, those are drive stallers, the drive killers, and they aid the opponent's momentum. And I think that's what has happened. I mean, you go back to the game, the momentum, both in Oklahoma State, I believe, and just this past weekend in Jerrysville, that turnover, the pick 6 and then the turnover down inside the 10 on Saturday seemed to have really flipped that ball game. I mean, Arkansas has to stop shooting themselves in the foot. And as everybody like to say, Arkansas being, Arkansas.
But, Pat, before we go on, because I'm ready to eat these wings, talk to us today about what is on the daily dish for CMAX today.
We have. Now, let me show you. You see these? These are great chicken wings. Now, they make them in all flavors, but these are the Parmesan chicken wings. And I'm telling you what, with the corn nuggets, I'm telling you what.
Y'all already know I already snatched a couple of them. That's why it's a little empty in there.
I'm telling you what, people. We always talk about Demetrius and I, but we absolutely stand by what we say. It's just that good. You have to come out to either one of the CMAX. They have one in Siloam Springs on Highway 412. They have one at 909 South Thompson. They're in Springdale. They have one at 2190 MLK Boulevard in Fayetteville. So get on out, get you some of this great, great food. Come into this great environment. There is not a bad thing on the menu. But once again, these are your Parmesan chicken wings, and you can get them in all flavors. And you can also get you some corn nuggets. You see those? You get some of those corn nuggets right there.
That's good.
So, I mean, it's just a plethora of food. I mean, we really enjoy the sponsorship, but we love the food even more.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
I'm telling you, Demetrius, I don't know how – I haven't had everything on the menu, but just I ain't too far off.
I think next week I'm going for the tacos. I ain't tried the tacos.
See, and another thing, if you want the tacos, they do fry their own shells. So you can get fried fish tacos, with the fried shell here right on site at either location. But come out, you can catch on with Miss Amy. You can catch up with Chris McMillan, both owners of CMAX and proud founders of this place. This place is amazing. I'm stuck on the po' boy sandwich. Everybody knows me. If you know me, you know I'm going to eat the po' boy. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, I'm addicted to that shrimp po' boy. That's mine right there.
I know you've had it several times. But back on the subject of Arkansas, you seem to be a big old Jaquindon Jackson. Should we see a heavy dose of Jackson and Russell in this football game with the fact that we know – right now that offensive line is having some protection issues?
Yeah, I think it should be Jaquindon, Russell, and Dubinion. I'm a big Dubinion advocate, and I say that because he's the only running back with SEC experience. I mean, when you really look at those guys, and I understand Jaquindon is a great back. He's been the most proficient and efficient back that we've had thus far this year. But I think Dominion can add that experience in and give you that that 1-2 punch when not necessarily that Bradley can't play in the middle of the field, but I just think he's a red zone factor. I think he's way more efficient in the red zone. And if I'm Petrino, I'm using him in the red zone as our big package. But I feel like Dominion can give Taylor a couple of those options when things break down and he is looking for that back out the backfield to break off and be his safety valve. I feel like Dominion can add that element to the game and kind of be that outlet for him.
Man, having R-Dub is, like I said, it's a security blanket. I know it's time. We hadn't seen much of number 7 this year. He's played a very integral part the first 2 years, that being his freshman and sophomore year. So having him back in, the thing I like about him is he's really good out of the backfield as a receiver. So if you add he and Rodney Hill, those are 2 elements that you're going to have to work. I mean, I think Arkansas is going to have 4 productive running backs going forward for the duration of this season to have the type of success, because they're going to really have to rely on the running game, play action, because who knows if they correct that protection issue. I think, like I've always told somebody, I think it's more so the right side of that offensive line than, say, the left side. But issues are issues, and you do things as a team. So I think Arkansas really will have to make a heavy emphasis on running the dadgum football Saturday night and keeping that very potent, Josh Heupel offense off the field, because they can put points on you real quick.
So what quartet of receivers are you trotting out there?
Man, I mean, I'm of the belief. I think right now they need to give Borden some time to think about it. Broden, I should say. I think you would go with Dozier. I'd like to see more of Davion. I'd like to see more CJ. I'd like to see more Harrison. I would like to see.
Harrison.
I would like to see Tesla. I think those 6 guys, if you rotate Tesla, Harrison, Satania, Armstrong, Davion Dozier, C.J. Brown, and Harrison, I think those are guys that can make plays, because, I mean, number 5 is just not getting it done. And I'm not trying to disrespect the young man, because he's a great young man off the field, as I've witnessed, but we have to go on what we see on the field, and right now the production is not matching up for all the targets. You got to stop. You got to get some of those 15, 20-yard passes, because when you don't get it, then there's a 3rd down or a 4th down. And most of the times you're dropping passes that will result in chunk plays. So I think they got to start giving some of the guys in that wide receiver core a more opportune time, because right now, I mean, the drop balls are also another big key concern for this team. I mean, you got to make plays when you got to make plays.
And I think personally, guys are going to have opportunities this week to make plays, because a lot of the defensive emphasis is going to be on Armstrong and JJ. Those are the 2 players that a lot of people are going to be, hey, you got to watch number 2 and number 22. Those are the 2 guys on the field that must be accounted for. And then they're looking at, hey, now you got to look at Green throwing a spy on him. But I'm pretty sure they're going to try to double team number 2, because they understand that's our deep threat. I think if you're any opposing defense, not that these guys don't I guess, offer disadvantages for the defense, but I think from all defensive coordinators, they're looking at this receiving core as like, hey, if you stop number 2, you stop this receiving core. But I think guys like you mentioned, CJ, Davion Dozier, even a Harrison, an older guy, when you're going to be in this big spotlight and highlighted game, that they're going to have opportunities to make plays.
And I say a lot of that, a lot of that is on Taylor. And I know that I'm not going to sit here and say the offensive line is not having issues, because I'll continue to say I think it's the right side. But I've watched multiple times from our vantage point in the press box when there is zero coverage. I mean, zero coverage naturally tells you get the ball to the middle of the field. I mean, it's wide open. There's nobody there. And I've seen multiple times where there might be a Tesla or even an Armstrong or a who else can we think of?
What's that?
Satania in the zero coverage when there's the blitz. I mean, he's just not trusting himself to throw that ball, and those are touchdowns if you hit them. You just have to trust yourself and trust your receiver. And those guys have beaten some of those DBs and those safeties on the inside route to take it to the house. He's just not throwing the ball. I think he's holding the ball a little bit longer. Now, I'm like you told me, and I agree. I've talked to my brother as well. Those hits got him hearing ghosts. I mean, let's just be honest, though. I mean, he seems to be a little bit more quicker to bail when the pocket collapse on either side. Pretty much, like I said, he rolls to his right because that's pretty much where the side collapses first and foremost. But I just think he has to stand in there, and he's going to have to take some hits. I mean, he's going to have to do what, the Tyler Wilsons and even Ryan Mallett's and, the great ones, they stand in there and they get their butt knocked off to complete their ball. So that's what Taylor, he's going to have to get – I think he's going to have to get really indoctrinated in how they hit and in the physicality of the SEC, and that's by standing in the pocket and just taking one for the team. You can't dodge it, and I think there's going to be – Nick says he like JJ, he wants Jaquindon to play quarterback. He's got enough on his plate.
Yeah, I think
he's got enough on his plate.
I would in a perfect world, I wish he could, but I think he spent so much time at the running back position, especially at the SEC. I think they had Kentucky do it for a game where they had the receiver go out there, but I'm not sure we have that type of line where we can just solely run the ball.
Yeah.
Because I think that was Arkansas versus Kentucky that they took the receiver and played him at quarterback, and what they ran about 40 sometimes that game.
I mean, but this team's identity is a run first, pass second, use the play action game offense. And that's okay because everybody looks at the Bobby Petrino offense and you think, oh, man, he's just going to throw it around the yard. There's going to be a bomb here, cross route there, reverse pass here. No, when you look at great offensive coordinators, and I do think Bobby Petrino is one of those, they're going to adjust their offensive system with the data that they've received, and the data that I've received, and I'm pretty sure Coach has too, is that we're a pretty damn good running football team. When our running backs leading the conference, I mean, we have one of the more elite offenses, 8th in the country. We're doing something pretty good. So we've already thrown everything on the wall. Now we saw what sticks, and that's the running game, play action, being solid on defense. I think Arkansas is going to have to bring even more pressure to get Mr. Nico unsettled. If you let him stand back there on Saturday night and pick and choose where he goes, I mean, isn't it just awesome? Two great offensive minds in Hypo and Bobby Petrino going to match wits against each other at 6:30. I mean, the schemes and the looks at it and the eye candy that you'll get from both coordinators is just, I think it's going to be fascinating. I'm looking forward to seeing this game on how it's going to play out. But Arkansas is going to absolutely, without a doubt, have to establish the ability to run the ball when Tennessee knows that they're going to run the ball and that's going to have to happen in the first quarter. I mean, Arkansas is going to have to establish some type of line of scrimmage presence from both sides early in this game. If they don't do that, it's going to be a long night.
Long night.
It'll be a real long night.
Long.
Yes.
Long.
Yes.
Long.
Hey, we're going to get some thoughts on this Saturday's game. We got a chance to catch up with offensive lineman, senior offensive lineman guard Josh Braun, and senior wide receiver Isaac Tesla. And here's what they had to say, and then we'll be back with much, much more. You're watching Talking Season on the Hill Media, live here at CMAC Southern Kitchen. We'll be back.
I got this right. I think Tennessee's leading the country in total defense, 176 yards a game. Just when you look at them on film, what jumps out at you about what they're doing so well?
Yeah, I mean, they play their gaps very well. This is probably the most talented D-line we've gone up against so far this year, and it'll definitely be challenging. And that's something we're trying to replicate in practice and prepare for. This linebacker core, I'll let Tesla handle the secondary, but the linebackers definitely fill their gaps hard, and we just have to have great communication, get on our spots, and then block the play as it's designed and execute.
Yeah, I'd say to follow up what Braun said, kind of piggyback off what he said, that they're a very talented football team and they're a well-coached football team. Obviously, if you're going to have a top defense in the SEC and the entire NCAA, it's going to come down to talent and coaching. So we just got to make sure we're well prepared and executing the game plan.
Mm-hmm.
And then Josh, I know you and Addison are close, old chess playing buddies from way back, but he's playing his old Tennessee team. What are you seeing from him this week? How excited do you think he is, and how do you think he's played this year? I know he's had to play through the ankle injury and everything.
Yeah, I mean, banged up, it's always hard, but he attacks every day and tries to get better, tries to rehab that ankle. Hopefully he's past it now. And just speaking from my experience, I know how excited I was to play my former team, and so I can only imagine what it's like for him. And I mean, having them here, it's going to be exciting for him in the first quarter, but then that goes away pretty quick. And I mean, although they're your buddies, you're still playing against them. and it's just another layer of the game.
Okay, I'm gonna have a few more, but I'll turn it back to Oliver. Thank you. Ready, go ahead.
Yeah, Josh, what did you take away from the Texas A&M game with y'all's guys' performance on the offensive line, and how correctable is some of the issues you had?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously disappointing watching the film and seeing how close we were to making some big plays. And at the end of the day, it comes down to communication and preparation. And we have to put Talon in better positions for him to make plays. I mean, he's an athlete, he's a playmaker, and if we need to start holding up our end of the bargain so that he can make those plays. And I mean, just going forward, we just need to communicate better, and that starts in practice, that starts in our preparation.
Isaac, with the way that you played last weekend, do you think that you've maybe instilled some confidence in Talon, is in terms of not only being a playmaker but also a safety valve at times?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always kind of been that guy for Talon. Obviously, it hasn't really showed up much until last game, so I don't think I would say much has changed. It's just, it just happened to be that way during the game, and obviously, I think it was a confidence booster for me and him. But moving forward, we're just gonna just try to figure out the game plan and go from there.
Thanks, guys.
Sound good.
Hey guys, first night game for you here on campus, game number 6. But I'm wondering what you feel like the energy and atmosphere might look like come Saturday night, Isaac.
Man, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Coach told us that this is the first stripe out we've done since I think it was 2019, maybe 20. Last time we played Texas, and we beat them by 20. So hopefully
that's for here. It's hard for us to remember.
Yeah. But hopefully that's the trend that we do stripe out and we win big. So should be a good atmosphere.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've never been a part of a stripe out, and so as the home team, and so I'm excited to see what it's like, and I know the fans are going to have the place rocking.
You know, Tennessee runs this offense. It's like, the fastest thing on turf or whatever. When you're watching that, and you're going to go on the field after they finish. Is there any mindset that your offense has that maybe we want to slow things down, or we have to match their speed? How do you approach that?
I think when it comes to matching their speed, that's not something we're going to, at least to my knowledge.
And welcome back here live. We're at CMAX Southern Kitchen here at 7420 West Sunset Avenue here in Tawny Town on a beautiful, beautiful Thursday. Thursday, is it evening or afternoon? How would you classify that? Are we in the evening?
Afternoon.
Okay. On a beautiful Thursday afternoon. That's what I was kind of thinking. I mean, it's still when does it officially become evening?
Evening, I thought it was like 6 o'clock, 5, 6 o'clock. That's evening.
That's when you see, because I'm of the 4 when it hits 4:20.
The afternoon is anywhere from 12 to like 4, 5.
Because the hottest part of the day, they've always said, is from 12 to 3. The hottest part of the day, but I understand. So a great afternoon, as my producer and I, we've come to the conclusion that we are in the afternoons here from 1 to 2 p.m. I mean, once again, if you hadn't had any of this good stuff, or if you have, it's here for you. They would love to serve it to you. It's nothing but good, and it is. It's just that good. It really is. It really is. I'm going to get my po' boy. I'm going to get my French fries. But they also, if you want to shake, the variety of mint chocolate chip, you want a chocolate, you want a strawberry, they have that. You want fish tacos, they have that. You want shrimp, fish, or chicken po' boy sandwiches, they have that. They have chicken wings of any variety. They have any type of burger. Real popular on the menu is the C-Max burger. I highly suggest you try that. If that's the first thing you come in to C-Max for the first time, I think, Demetrius, you should try the C-Max burger? C-Max burger or the fish?
Yeah, I think I had the fish.
Yeah. Which one do you think for the people that have never been here? What should they try first?
It depends. I mean, I think those two options are perfect because you get an either or.
Well, hey, let's get into some of the picks on this upcoming SEC weekend. Who we got first?
We can go from bottom to the top since Arkansas and Tennessee game.
Let's do that.
The first one is Alabama versus Vanderbilt. The Commodores.
Will Alabama be in a lull, and how will the Commodores respond being down, having lost 2 really, really heartbreaking games? They did get the off week.
And it is at Vanderbilt.
And, it's a very emotional, very physical game Alabama's coming off of. So my biggest deal will I think Alabama gets it done, but I don't think it'll be in as big a margin as some of the bookmakers said.
Yeah, I think this will be a slobber knocker that first and second quarter, but I think Alabama comes out and make the needed adjustments, and that offense is really going right now. I think they got a lot of mojo going.
Right.
So I'm going Roll Tide.
All right, our next game.
Missouri A&M.
Ooh, Missouri is at C-Stat. I'm going with A&M. That's, you already know, for the reasons all above. Yep.
Man, I'm going Missouri. I think they find a way to get it done. I think
Aggies.
I think A&M offense is a little lag.
Yeah.
I think even when you talk about Arkansas last week, man, there was a lot of times we should have had them 3 and out, and we would commit a either dumb penalty or just some type of defensive lag where it wasn't like they schematically defeated them. It was just Arkansas out of position or Arkansas having the wrong personnel out there. So, again, I think Missouri cleans up those mistakes that Arkansas kind of fell short of and edges that game out.
I think in the key status, I think when you look at A&M defensively, they were better than I thought they were. I mean, after losing Nolan and you know, some of their big-time defensive linemen, the other schools, Ole Miss and Alabama in particular, I didn't think this defensive front was going to be as dominant. They were very dominant Saturday. They're quick, they're fast, they're agile. And when you look at the totality of the defense, they hadn't had a team score over 20 points all season long. So that tells me that Elko knows what he's doing. I mean, they're going to give him a lot of crazy fronts to that Missouri team. And then Missouri's not running the football like I think they should. So I think this is going to also come to, as it does, who's going to control the line of scrimmage, and I'm giving that edge just a little bit to A&M in a hostile environment. I think they'll get to cook a little bit pressure-wise. I think they'll squeeze out a close one. Who we got?
Next game, we got Ole Miss versus South Carolina.
I think Ole Miss won't be. I think that loss last week might have took a little bit of wind out of their sails, and I like what South Carolina does, and they are extra tough to beat there at Williams-Brice on a Saturday. So I'm going to go with South Carolina.
Yep, because
I'm going to take the Gamecocks.
It's at South Carolina.
I'm going to take the Gamecocks and the Beamers. I'm going to take the Beamers. Absolutely.
I think South Carolina becomes a little bit more physical, and they out-physical Ole Miss. I think, you know, Rocky Sanders has a day on the field.
Right.
You look at former players, Poop Hall versus Rocky Sanders, so I think I'm going to give that edge to Rocky.
Next game, Auburn and Georgia. Not going to be close.
This
Dog's going to be extremely angry.
I hate it for it.
This may be one of the worst Auburn teams that I have seen down in the Plains in a long time, particularly offensively. Had never seen anything like this. And for the sourness and just the bad character in Hugh Freeze, I'm going to take Georgia in a rout. I mean, and when I say a rout, I mean a rout. You got a lot that they're playing for. Both these programs recruit kind of the same kids. So I think Kirby, I think Coach Smart and those Dogs are going to come out and really send a message on Saturday.
Man, I give it to the Bulldogs just because they got revenge on their mind right now. I think last week they know they didn't come out and start as hot as they should against a formidable opponent in Alabama.
Right.
And I think they just really want to show not only themselves but the college football playoffs. You know that we still are the returning champions to this playoff thing. So we gotta not returning, but you know Michigan won last year, but you know. Not too far from being removed as the champion, and we're the champions of the last few years. So again, I think they're just gonna come in saying we haven't left. We're still here to dominate, and they're gonna come out and display themselves as they should.
And the second most lopsided game I think we're gonna see is UCF at Florida. Man, it just doesn't get any easier.
Let me ask you a question.
Let
me ask you something.
After this Saturday.
Let me ask you something.
What's that?
You think UCF coach can have an option at that job over there in Florida?
No, I don't think they'll go. I think they got their eyes thinking that Drinkwitz or somebody like that's going to come to Florida. And I don't think – I don't know. Florida and Arkansas are two of them jobs I think people think that you can just go get anybody and it's going to work. No, Florida is not as – well thought of over the last maybe 5 to 7 years as they were under Urban Meyer and
I say
Steve Spurrier.
decade. I mean,
Yeah, we'll go decade.
I go decade for
Yes,
sure.
we'll go decade under Steve Spurrier
Because
and Urban Meyer.
you got to think their run was like 2010, from 2010 to 15. So
boy, they had a good one, didn't they, boy? Whew. They had 2 runs under.
and
two
now
of them.
it was maybe like 08 to
Right.
So like yeah, it wasn't even 15.
Right. But yeah, I think UCF really puts the hammer down, and the Fire Napier Gator fans will be even more intent on making that happen.
Yeah, I'm going UCF. I think they try to right the wrong from last week
Right.
losing to Colorado. They still have a fighting chance to, when you're
Right.
talking college playoffs, I think they still are in that hunt out of the Big 12 coming out of there. And I think they're still fighting. I think this will be a win that they come out and, put some points back up and get those stats headed in the right direction from last week.
Before we get into the Tennessee prediction, one other thing that I think is going to be real big on Saturday night is, and I mentioned it earlier, with this being a real true SEC road test for Nico in Fayetteville, but also being the SEC opener for Arkansas here at the house. I mean, I think both teams will come in with a lot of energy. That's why I implore this Hawk fan base to come out and maybe be just that extra energy that pushes this team over. Because, as I said, they're either going to show up or they're going to get their butt kicked. It's only 2 ways this thing is going to go. And I err on the side of them showing up. This is a good football team, but they've got to find a way, Demetrius, and to all they got to find a way to be great on Saturdays. Good's just not going to get it. Good's not going. It hadn't been getting it. It's time to be great, and you got to make those plays that you see kids at Georgia and Alabama and LSU and Tennessee and places like that. Your kids have to do that. They have the ability, but you have to have the confidence to go out and make those plays. And I think that's where this program is the confidence to push through. I mean, they've been in a hell of a lot of one-score ball games, Demetrius, over the last 5 to 7 years.
But to me,
and it just never goes right.
To me, confidence is a reflection of your head coach.
Yeah.
It's a reflection of the guys that are leading you. So, again, if you're saying, well, we don't know we have the confidence, who or what or how is the confidence built?
Hey, your boy Nick said Arkansas 28-24, old 1999 score. Nick said he's taking the Hawks.
Nick, I hope so. I hope you ain't been drinking this morning already.
It's just gonna be
it's
real
gonna be
imperative.
tough, man.
If they don't take care of the ball, if Arkansas turns the ball over more than two times, it's gonna be a 21-plus.
If they don't come out there and score in that first drive, it's gonna be a long day. I'm telling you right now. If they don't come out there and score in that first drive, and they can't show that they can stop, because again, what you can't let Tennessee do is come in here and get settled. That's why I say that first drive, you got to come in and score, and then the second drive where the defense comes in, you got to put them on their heels so they're still getting rattled. Because once they settle in,
and they got to create some turnovers on Saturday. This team has to get some takeaways as they did in Auburn.
To me, and the reason why I say they gotta get it, because after that first quarter, the crowd almost isn't going to be a factor.
Yeah. You would hope that that's not the case.
No, I mean that in the sense of once you let me get in my rhythm, I don't care how loud you are. Now I've blocked you out.
Yeah.
Any great athlete understands how to block the crowd out. That's really not only a factor to teams that don't understand how to play in hostile environments. But I feel like Tennessee Nico may have a moment where it becomes hostile, but I feel like the leadership on that team understands these moments.
They got a guy that's been playing football since 2016. Started at BYU, and he is still on a roster. That equivalent that equates to what, 8 or so years.
But Pat, that's why I say Harrison, I believe, can be a factor in this game when you talk about experience. No, he maybe doesn't have all the SEC experience, but he has the experience of those pressure moments, those pressure games. Some of those third downs where we need a big catch, man, we got to throw Harrison in there just out of him understanding, man, there needs to be a play, and I'm the guy to make the play. I'm a gamer. when my number's called and I know my team needs me, we got to have those type of guys out there, especially in a game like Tennessee.
And I totally agree with you. Maturity in college football, I mean, there's no substitute for it. I mean, it just isn't. I mean, you can tell and you can see the mature teams and how they prepare and how they play. And Tennessee's one of those teams. I mean, Josh has a lot of people that could have went pro last year that chose to come back. I mean, he's got a very savvy and seasoned both on the offensive and as when he came into the program, the one thing Josh Heupel did was make sure he was well stocked on offensive and defensive lines.
So to me, and this is just me personally, getting your players to return is where your NIL really plays a factor. If you know you got NFL guys that you got to bring back, it's not necessarily going to the transfer portal and going to buy the most highly rated player. The NIL is going to boil down to, do I have the budget to when I do get these guys on campus, and I need them to stay another year because we 1 year away from being what we need them to be. Do I have the budget?
I think that's where Arkansas is having the issues. Too many people worried about the NIL, and you could see it. I mean, you could see the teams that have it, and they're not worried about it. The one thing I like about what SMU did, and this is what I like, every young man at that school that plays at SMU gets $35,000. That $35,000. Now, what you do on the NIL, that's strictly on you. You're on your own, but everybody's on an equal playing field, so you're not walking around, well, he make no. There's $35,000 that you are being paid. Everybody's equal now, and your value is based on your performance. And if someone else on NIL wants to come in, I think that's what they need to do across college football is take out the jealousy because, hey, if I knew KJ or somebody's making $1 million, well, I'm blocking for this guy making this money. So, hey, coach, how you going to take care of me? Because it's a team over here that's going to take care of me. So that's where you're starting to come into the bid, and you can see it. You can see it on the football field. Sometimes people make business decisions, and that's an NIL business decision. So I think college football has to do some research, not take out because I do think kids need to be paid. I'm not going to sit and say they don't. I mean, these kids come from very rough, downtrodden situations. So, I mean, I'm not going to say they shouldn't, but we got to find something to take out how kids perform based on how much money they make. Because you are still yet getting a free education that when you graduate, you don't have to pay back. A lot of those kids in those stands are paying stuff back while paying to go to school and having to go get a job. So we got to find a way to make it equal, take out the jealousy, and then, hey, it should be performance-based when you talk NIL.
I absolutely should. I know that's where you start getting that gray area of, okay, we can't play you based on performance because it's name, image, and likeness. And your name, image, and likeness has nothing to do with your performance. But in reality, it has everything to do with your performance because I only want you because you're doing this.
Right.
You're performing at this level, which makes you known. So, again, I think they do have to figure out some balance to get that situated, or it's going to implode. You're going to get to a point where you're talking about paying kids $10 million and haven't played a snap, and you still have a whole football team to pay for, and you got 10 other players hollering they need $1 million. And it's like, okay, this is going to, at some point, you're going to get that situation at UNLV where there's a miscommunication about what's promised, what's owed, what I really should get, what I shouldn't get, when I should get it. So there's a lot of factors that I do think are coming to fruition, but I mostly see that NIL hurting Arkansas with, let's just say, we do have Atlanta and Jackson that does have that first-round draft pick, and we know for sure they're gonna bring us this type of return. What's gonna stop that kid from one going elsewhere to receive a bigger NIL bag?
People got to get in they got to follow the blueprint by Tennessee. You got to follow that blueprint. I mean, I like their athletic director, Danny White. He's basically saying there's going to be a 14% increase, 10% and then 4% increase on your tickets. If you don't buy them, hey, stay home and go watch. Stay home and watch. Someone's going to buy your ticket. See, he's already said that 10% is going to go to NIL. Every 10% ticket in that stadium that you buy, that money's going to go directly into NIL. So if you have over 100,000 people and they're giving 10%, and that's 14% throughout the whole booster club on increase, that's for NIL. And he's put it point blank period out there to the state. If you don't want to be a part of it, stay home and watch the games. But I like his aggressiveness. And I think that's what – it's not just Arkansas, it's everybody. You're going to have to buy in. No longer can you worry about facilities. The teams with the best budgets are going to be weak year in and year out in the playoffs. So you're going to find out that 12 teams that are paying the best NIL, their budget, those teams are going to be playing. So you can sit on the sideline or you can pay to play. You got a choice.
And I can agree to disagree that I feel like you will see a more consistent probability come out from those teams that do have the budget. I do think you'll get those teams that just have top-tier coaching because, you know, you're only as good as the workers that you have underneath you, so you still are going to have that. But I think there's going to be opportunities for a program like Arkansas that maybe doesn't have those budgets that some of the Texases or, you know, some of the bigger schools have that have a chance to get in there. It's just going to take, man.
I still say this about
it's going to take the right mix.
If you don't think they don't have it, that's farce. It's time to buy in Arkansas. It's time to figure it out. You have the resources.
I think they have it, but I don't think everybody has it. I definitely think we have it.
You can't want to have a great program and bitch at coaches if they don't reach your standards when you don't reach the standard and you know how the game is being played now with the NIL. You can't expect them to play the game that you're not allowing them by giving them the resources to play. Tennessee's coaches play that game because the resources are there. Ohio State plays that game because the resources are there. Texas can play that game because the resources are there. They have it. They're going to spend it. Arkansas, the state, has to get a hunger to where they want to be successful athletically with this program and go on and buy in. Quit dangling your money expecting to get something if you hadn't made the deposit. You want to be in the playoffs, deposit to make that playoff run for all your sports. That's what needs to happen. I mean, watch. Will Arkansas's fans pony up, and will they come up with the extra $500,000? You want the slobbering hog, so now here's your chance to invest in the slobbering hog and get what you want in the state. Help come up with an additional $500,000, and that's going to happen.
But, Pat, does the slobbering hog really cost $500,000?
I think it's for NIL. And, I mean, he stated that. It's going to be an NIL donation, which – you get what you want, but you also help out your school. The dollars that you spend for that hog are going to bring maybe a Caleb Wilson, ranked third in the country. Maybe a Malik Thomas. You know, those dollars are going to add up to players coming, so you're basically investing in something that you want, and you'll get your return by getting the best players.
I can't argue with you.
I mean, money talks, BS walks. That's just the way we are in college sports. You got to put up or you have to shut up with that money. NIL, and that's even when they start the profit sharing. It's still going to boil down to NIL. It's still going to be the haves and the have-nots. You're going to have to commit to the NIL across the country if you want to play for championships. There's no other way around it. It's no other way around it. And I think Arkansas, when you figure it out, you'll play consistently at a high level in every sport. But you got to figure it out, state of Arkansas. I mean, you are a sleeping giant because you choose to be.
So, talk about a sport like baseball where the money's never been there, but we've been in situations to get us over the hump, and we never
see.
Get
there. They're in a good situation there in Iowa. You have so many professional players that's come through your program. Those guys are going to come and give back and make it feasible for you to get what you need.
And I got to think about it. It's totally different from football.
Yeah.
When you're talking about making a championship football team versus a championship baseball team, it's definitely harder.
Play travel baseball. Whew. It ain't cheap. It's not a cheap sport. But hey, before we close it out, let's get to our last game. Absolutely, the Arkansas Razorbacks host number 4 Tennessee at Donald W. 6:30 kickoff. Give me your predictions. Player of the game, offense and defense. Let's go. What you got?
Man, Woo. Man, I'm gonna go defense. Let's start defense.
Yeah.
Defense. I'm gonna go Quincy Rhodes. I think he gets a little bit more
That's a good
burn
one.
this week, and he
That's a
comes
good one.
out and surprises us and shows us some defensive line improvement
Right.
coming off the bench. I'm gonna go Quincy Rhodes for defense. Offense, man, it's easy for me to just say Jaquinton Jackson week in, week out, but I'm going to go. I'm gonna go Harrison.
All right.
I think he earns an opportunity to get out on the field, and he makes some key plays and shows why he should get some more burn. I still got Arkansas losing. Arkansas 14. Tennessee 38.
All right. I'm going to go Tesla. I like what Aaron said. I like Tesla. Aaron also says Tennessee 38-27. He's calling for Landon Jackson to be the defensive player. I'm going to go Isaac Tesla because I think last Saturday was just the beginning of what this young man can do and why he was so highly recruited and acquired about during his time in the transfer portal. I'm going to go with Isaac Tesla. Defensively, I'm going to stick with this guy. I think he's going to have a great game. It's long overdue, but I am going to go with my boy, TJ Metcalf. I think he's going to come out and have another one of his SEC coming out games. I didn't think he played bad last week, but I think
he didn't.
The stage is going to be real big, and it's just something about number 18. He just always seems to be there and ready to play. So I'm a big TJ guy, so I'll say TJ Metcalf. And my score, I'm going to call for an upset just because I can't go against him. I mean, I cover him, so why not? And it's just being real. This is my honest opinion. There's still a few things that Arkansas can do, and that's run the football. If they're able to run the football for more than 175 yards in Saturday's ball game, I think they're going to be able to beat Tennessee. Turnover battle, it's got to be a +2 either way, but I'm going to call for a really, really, really close game and what I think is going to be a defensive matchup because anytime you talk about the offensive fireworks, that never happens. I think it's going to be the team take care of the ball and the team that can really get off the field on third down. Arkansas is going to win it. I'm calling for the Hogs 28-20 in an upset, and I think this might put them in a good place to go into the off week up 4-2 with halfway to go and then be able to get ready to protect their home state for the last 4 out, I believe 6 will be in the state's borders. So, yeah, Arkansas 28-20. That's going to do it for us here once again tomorrow night. Now, if you're not doing anything, you can join in to our channel here at On the Hill Media for the Fayetteville Bulldogs as they travel to take on the Rogers Mounties at Gate Stadium. Both teams coming in 3-1, 1-0 in conference. To me, I think is who wins this game takes a huge step for being the town that you got to go through to get to the state championship game. Lastly, hey, we're going to get out of here, and we want you to be there with us tomorrow, and then we'll be back because, hey, we also got a pregame show live from CMAX at 2190 MLK Boulevard there in Fayetteville. We'll be on the air from 3 to 4:30, I believe, is when we're going to have the show. So come on down, eat with us, talk with us. Hop on here if you want to and give us your opinion on how you think that game's going to go on Saturday. But until then, hey, we'll check with you. It's On the Hill. It's talking season on the Hill Media.